Okay, think about this. You get called into a really important meeting, maybe with the boss. The stakes feel super high.
Right.
Now imagine the people sent to get you turn up,
Yeah.
and you're just like fast asleep.
That's quite the scenario. It immediately flips what you'd expect, doesn't it?
Totally. A royal summons, you think urgency, maybe a bit of fear, respect, certainly.
Exactly. But Bidrip and Bankham just sleeping. It throws that whole dynamic into question right from the start. Makes you wonder, what's actually going on.
Precisely. And that's what we're diving into today, looking at pasted text, specifically Part A. Our mission here is really to unpack this. Well, this unexpected situation for you, the listener. We want to get a handle on the power dynamics, maybe figure out the strategies these characters are using.
And look for those potential turning points, because it feels like things could go in a few different directions here.
Yeah, it's a great glimpse into how a simple or seemingly simple encounter can show us a lot about human interaction and maybe strategy.
And it really highlights how, even in a place like a royal court, which you imagine is all procedure and rules, the unexpected can be, well, a powerful force.
Definitely. So the king sends for Bidrup and Bankham first thing in the morning. He's probably expecting them to jump up and run over.
You'd think so. So getting the news that they're still in bed must have been quite a surprise for him. Maybe suggests he miscalculated something.
Or underestimated them, perhaps.
Yeah.
It certainly makes him change his approach.
Right, because then a second summons goes out.
And this time, the instructions are different. It's clear. The messengers have to bring Bidrup and Bankham with them. No more waiting around.
That definitely escalates things. The king's initial maybe surprise seems to be turning into more of a demand now.
Yeah, get them here.
And for Bidrup and Bankham, that specific instruction being escorted, that seems to be the thing that triggers some real concern. It definitely raises the stakes for them.
Exactly. The text even tells us they're smart cookies, right? The two intelligent individuals certainly know what might happen in the morning. Who they're sleeping in might not go unnoticed.
They were aware of potential consequences, so they agree to go, okay, fine. But the escort part, that makes them nervous.
You can almost hear their minds racing. The text gives us their thoughts like, he might have come up with some new scheme.
Or, has he understood our trick? Whatever that trick was.
Yeah, that line is interesting, isn't it? Our trick.
Yeah.
It hints there's some history there, maybe a previous plan or interaction with the king that makes them uneasy now.
Definitely suggests this isn't happening in a vacuum.
Yeah.
They have some context we don't fully have yet.
So they have this quick internal debate, right? Like, okay, if we just ignore this, the king's going to be furious, there could be punishment.
But we can't really ignore it, can we?
No. Ultimately, it's like, okay, we have to go. That's final.
But that little moment of considering resistance, it just underlines the tension they're feeling. They're not just blindly obeying. There's some thinking going on, calculating the risks.
Definitely strategic thinking.
So, picture the scene. They finally arrive at the royal court.
And the atmosphere is just silence. Thick silence.
Yeah. Silence in the royal court. The king's already seated, waiting. They do the greetings.
And then nothing. Just this pause hanging in the air. Who's going to speak first? It feels really charged.
That silence is significant, isn't it? It's not typical court behavior, you'd think. The king was surprised they were asleep. They're anxious about being escorted. It all creates this really unusual, tense quiet.
And it's Bidrup who finally breaks it. Very politely, but still quite direct.
What does he say?
Something like, Your Majesty, forgive my impertinence, but could you tell us why you summoned us here? Respectful, but gets right to the point.
Okay. Puts the ball in the king's court. And the king's response.
This is where it gets wild.
Yeah.
He basically says, yeah, I'm thinking about that too. How to even begin. And then he follows it up with, but forgive me.
Forgive me. The king is asking them for forgiveness.
Exactly. It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
The power dynamic just flips completely in that moment.
That's incredible. What does that suggest? His vulnerability there.
Well, Bankham's reaction says it all. He's like, Your Majesty, what are you saying? Don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Like the whole world's turned upside down.
Yeah, it shatters the expected order of things. Does the king explain why he's apologizing?
He does. He says, I didn't recognize you. You are people of very high standing. It was a mistake on my part and ours.
So he's admitting he misjudged them, failed to see their true worth, or maybe misunderstood something they did before.
Seems like it. And then, get this, Bidrup and Bankham just share this little knowing smile.
Yeah.
And they think to themselves, grandparents' remedy has worked.
Ah, the Totka. So that confirms it. Their being asleep wasn't an accident.
It really suggests it was deliberate, doesn't it? Some kind of advice or strategy they got may be designed to make the king see them differently.
That remedy is key. It implies their passive-seeming behavior was actually an active move. Makes you really curious what that advice actually was.
Me too. So the king, trying to smooth things over now, basically says, okay, tell me, what can I do for you? How can I make amends?
An open invitation. What do they ask for?
Well, Bankham jumps in, and his reply is audacious.
How so?
He says flat out, you don't have the power to do anything for us.
Wow. Directly to the king, that takes guts.
Right. Even Bidrup seems a bit taken aback, thinking, isn't that going a bit too far?
Huh. Even his partner thinks it's bold. How does the king react to that?
He just accepts it. He even apologizes again.
No way. So he doesn't push back at all?
Nope. It just cements this idea that Bidrup and Bankham have somehow gained serious leverage here. The whole power balance has shifted.
It really has. So now they're in this position of strength. What's their next move?
Well, they start thinking, what should they ask for? The text even mentions a fleeting thought. Should we just ask for the kingdom?
Whoa, okay, so they recognize the scale of their opportunity.
Definitely. But they don't immediately demand riches or power.
No. What do they do instead?
Bidrup requests time to meditate. He says he needs to consult with spirits, Pritatma.
Spirits. Okay, that adds another interesting layer. Is it genuine, do you think? Or another tactic?
Hard to say for sure, right? It could be genuine belief, or it could be a very clever way to buy time, figure out their best move, maybe even keep the king slightly intimidated or mystified.
And the king just goes along with it.
Readily, even offers help, which again shows how much he wants to appease them now.
So they ask for solitude, basically.
Yeah.
And don't give a clear deadline.
Exactly. They say they need time alone, and we'll let him know. Eventually. They're controlling the timeline now.
Okay, so they get their privacy. What happens then? Does the text show us their private conversation?
It does. And this is where their, let's say, true intentions seem to come out.
Ah, okay, so are they plotting to take over?
Not exactly. Their conversation shifts entirely. They start asking each other, okay, what should we actually say? And crucially, what should we do so that we and the people of our kingdom can be well?
Oh, wow. So it's not about personal gain. They're actually thinking about the kingdom's welfare.
It seems so. Yeah. Despite having this incredible leverage, their focus appears to be on the greater good, on what's best for everyone.
That reframes things quite a bit, doesn't it? It suggests a real sense of responsibility.
It really does. And Bidrup makes this final little comment, sort of smiling, saying, anyway, at least we are thinking about some people. Implying, perhaps, that the king is maybe more focused on other things. The text mentions his preoccupation with Moyna and her spirits. It subtly contrasts their grounded concern for the kingdom with the king's maybe less substantial worries.
Interesting. A subtle critique tucked in there.
So, just to recap for everyone listening, we've seen this incredible turnaround. Bidrup and Bankham go from being summoned, maybe in trouble, to holding significant power over the king.
Yeah, the king's apology, his offer. It opens up huge possibilities. But then their private talk shows this deep concern for the kingdom, not just themselves.
I think the big takeaway here is how something that looks like weakness or just odd behavior like being asleep can actually be used strategically.
Absolutely. Their initial inaction, let's call it, combined with maybe the spirit talk later, seems to have completely wrong-footed the king. It allowed them to gain influence.
It makes you think, doesn't it,
Yeah.
about how understanding someone else's expectations, maybe their biases or weak spots, can give you leverage in all sorts of situations, negotiations, leadership, everyday life, really.
Right. It's about reading the situation, maybe playing against expectations.
Exactly. And it leaves us with a really intriguing question to chew on. Given that they seem genuinely concerned for the kingdom, what will Bidrup and Bankham ask for?
And you still have that mystery of the totka, the grandparents' remedy. What on earth was that piece of advice?
Yeah, what was the secret? Maybe that's something for you, our listener, to think about until next time.